Hey everyone, this is a demo of basically how to set up the gargoyle creature. Um, a couple things. This is a new way of doing it. We just released version 40 of our material, of our procedural material. I'm going to talk through while it loads. You'll notice that this does take time. It's kind of annoying. We hear it's going to improve in Unity 5.2 the speed of caching all the data. But this does happen. It speeds up after a short while though. So first, let's go into the prefabs. We have all of our LODs here, down to LOD 6, which is a really low LOD. I mean, at this rate, you can kind of see it right here how it's pretty low, but we're gonna go with LOD 0 for now. And let's zoom in on this. We already have the material attached onto the body wings and outer wings, which is back here. So let's go and check out that material in the procedural materials. We're going to click on SFB Gargoyle v40. So pretty much all the aspects here can be changed. We've broken this down to the body, wings, the wing bones, nails, eyes, and tongue. So let's start by just changing some of the stuff. And you can do so much here, and we're only going to do a little bit. But you can do so much with this. It's kind of insane. Generally speaking, the first time that you change any one of these nodes, any one of these aspects, it may take a little bit longer to update in Unity. Once it's changed once, it generally will update a lot faster since Unity does cache the data. So now we can just swipe through, or scrub through rather, the hue and look at all the different changes. So we'll go with that change right there, and let's bring up the saturation a little bit. So a little red with some green. And lightness, we'll just keep it right there. Let me expand this, and you can see there's also numbers here. This window has to be pretty wide, but there's numbers here if you want to be much more precise. And we'll bring up the contrast a little bit. One thing you'll notice is the roughness here. We're going to skip to the roughness shift here. If you want the skin to be more or less reflective, you can shift the roughness value. If you shift to the left, that means it'll be more reflective. And if you shift to the right, it will be less reflective. Besides just changing the hue and saturation, just adjustments, you can also add an overlay color. If I wanted to, pretty much any color you want. Actually, not pretty much, any color you want. And just slide the overlay blend up. Again, it takes just a moment sometimes to get these cached, and once you have that up there, you can scrub through and see the updates faster. But this is why it's not a runtime option, because it's just too long. The overlay AO is blending the ambient occlusion onto the texture, onto that color. You can bring that down if you want to make it look much more like almost a toy. But now it's looking like a plastic toy that you might have on a desk. If you bring the size down, you can use it for exactly that, maybe a toy that comes to life. And of course, you can change the color to any color you'd like. Whatever you decide works for your project. So we're going to bring that down. Now I'm going to speed up the video as I do the wings, wing bones, nail, eyes, and tongue. I'm actually not going to change the eyes and tongue at all, but I will adjust the nails a little bit. So sit back and watch me do the rest. Alright, now that I've set up a look that I kind of enjoy, I'm going to show you a couple of the other options. These are environmental effects that can help the models blend into your scene a lot better. Rather than being a clean model, you can add things like ground dirt. I'm going to make this a bright orange color right now so we can see it better. I just deleted Photoshop and then some other applications. Not deleted, but I closed them just in case I was slowing this down. So the ground dirt comes from the bottom up and is meant to make the model blend into the ground a little bit better. The height, it adjusts basically how high it goes, of course. And then level is generally how thick it is. So there you go. You might want to bring it down a little bit. And then the contrast is how thick the dirt is. Bring it down, blends in a little bit more. Of course, the roughness is how rough it is right now. So unfortunately, it's preset to 0. We don't want it to be 0 at all. To be muddy, you kind of want it to be maybe up to 0.3 or so, and to be dry, a little higher. That way it appears dry. And let's change this back to a dirt color, a darker brown. You can also add ceiling dirt if you so choose. Ground dirt and ceiling dirt are basically the same thing but a different color than blood. Here you can see this is red, so it might appear to be blood as well. So again, same as ground dirt, but it comes from the ceiling. Surface dirt is similar to the others, only it affects from the everywhere, but basically from the creases in the model up. Made it blue so you can see better. You can see it starts in the creases where dirt may gather and then goes out from there. The other options are all the same, so just find something that looks kind of right to you. We'll just leave it there for now, and then change the coloring down to whatever suits your needs. Directional blood, again, there is a runtime version of this. So this has 6 options for which direction to go on, and it's just like the ground dirt and ceiling dirt where it has a high level contrast, color, and roughness. One thing to note is that the directional blood won't work in all directions on the gargoyle because the wings are mirrored in the texture. So it works with the Y, and it works with the Y inverted, and that's basically the ground ceiling dirt. However, Z won't work at all because of the wing issue, and Z inverted will work. So Z inverted works because it's coming from the front only, but doesn't quite splatter the way the wings do the way it does the body. So the body, it works where you can see this blood's coming from the front, as if it got sprayed with it. And at some point it gets the wings, but the wings go up instead of down. So that's one downside. Metal damage will only affect parts of the mesh that are metal, so we can ignore this for now. If you are using metal, you can adjust it with these options here. Leather is specifically supposed to be for leather, but we can use this. It will affect non-metal parts. One thing we can add is dust, perhaps. As we scrub through, you can see the dust on the top there. This is a good use, like if you did want to make a toy out of it on a store shelf or something, or it looked like it's been in a dusty room, you can use this to dust it up a little bit. Some of the leather things like the use and the age are probably not the best thing to use. You can try them out. They'll have unique effects, but they're not meant specifically for the gargoyle. We also have snow, moss, and moss color, the special effects here. So snow, of course, is the effect of him being out in the snow, just being covered. It's not a height-based effect, but it covers the whole body. Moss is similar to the snow, only of course it's moss, and you can adjust the color if you want to change up the moss a little bit. Let's skip down to the stamp here. We do provide a couple options, a pentagram, a target, a couple others. You can also bring your own in. If you have a 512 by 512 black and white mask, the white part is what shows, the black part does not. Just drag it into the custom stamp node right here and select custom from this drop down list, and it will show up. So here we have the pentagram on the chest. You can change the color, you can shift the roughness value, and adjust the normal. Adjusting the normal makes it have a little depth to it. One thing you can also do, if you bring the color blend down to 0, you can see the indentation here of a raised sign without changing the color. So that's another option for you as well. Wing scratches are a subtle look. Let me bring this up to maybe a bright yellow so we can kind of see it a little bit better. So here we have the scratches. You can adjust the width and height a little bit, the variation, disorder, and of course the rotation. And then cracks are cracks in the whole gargoyle. So again, let's bring this up to white so we can see it. We'll bring levels all the way up to 1. This works really well on for stone and marble looks. Basically got all these cracks here. You can bring it down to 0, black. I generally like black better. But again, you can change all the different distance and disorder in the cracks itself. Alright, so there's a lot you can do with the model. You can get really an insane number of looks out of it. When you're satisfied, since we don't want to use this in-game, we've created a little helper here. If you have the main parent selected, there's the rectangle, not the circle, of the procedural material, you can use this save texture option, either Command Shift T or just select it right here. It takes a few moments to export. This is something you can't speed up at all because Unity is literally exporting the texture maps for you. When prompted, choose Export here. This is a temporary folder we create, but we delete it at the end of this function. basically it exports the maps to that folder, moves them over to a new folder that has a timestamp on it in the same folder as the procedural materials. It's going to create a new standard shader material and assign all the textures to that material. So all you have to do is bring the new material over onto the model, and you've got a game ready model ready to go. So although this process does take a few minutes in Unity for all the computations and exporting to happen, and then importing as well, it saves you a lot of time than having to do this manually by hand. Now Unity is importing the texture maps. And now you'll find a new folder here. Let's expand or despan this SB Gargoyle, and it has a timestamp on it so that you can make multiple versions and not overwrite them, and you also keep them in order of which one was created first. So now we have our standard shader material here, and then just bring this over to your model itself. The slight change you see here is caused by the height map here. You want to keep the height map down for these characters, and in fact, if you really want to, you could just have no height map at all. It'll save a little time for you as well. If you had emissions selected, they'll show up here. We had all of them selected in this case, and of course you can play with the emissions via code. And if you don't want to use emissions at all, remove that map as well. So now you have a game-ready model that you created as quickly as you could, and you can create as many looks as you want that blend in with any type of game you want, from casual, simple, childlike games with a very toy-like look to more aggressive and dynamic looks like we have right here. Enjoy. Check out the next videos for how to use the base materials to use stone and marble and metal looks on the gargoyle, as well as the runtime options.